So we often get asked what just goes into our fireboxes. Well, I'm going to show you exactly what goes into it and why this goes into it. So first off, this is a firebox for a 1,000 gallon smoker pit. It is skinned in the 3/16 outside wall with 1/4 inch interior. And when we fill this whole firebox up with insulation, there's insulation across the bottom. There's insulation on the side walls right here inside. Then we fill in these corners as tightly as we can because we have that tombstone style shaped firebox. And then it gets insulation all across the top. Now we load that thing up to the hilt. And what we basically put into it is Unitherm. And it's 3 of these boxes right here is what goes in. So let me give you some numbers. We put 3 boxes. Each one of those boxes is 4.167 cubic feet. So total, we're putting in 12.5 or 12.5 cubic feet of insulation. And then if you want a really hard number on that, just to give you an idea, it's 75 feet long. So if we rolled out the insulation right here, this insulation, 75 feet, is pretty much the length of this building from the front to the back. So if we put that roll from way back there and just laid it out, stopped, laid another one out, stopped, it would reach almost the entirety of that length of this building. So why do we put insulation into a firebox? Why do you want insulation in a firebox? Well, here's the thing. Can you cook without it? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. However, if you are doing this in any form or fashion for money, or you want to save on fuel consumption, that's going to be the biggest kicker, right? The second thing is that having an insulated firebox by using less firewood actually lets you control and have a more stable coal bed. You have a more stable environment inside the firebox right there. And that's what you want. And then the other thing too is what that lends to is that inside the cook chamber, a lot of times there's people that have problems with their smoker pit because they can't cook protein close enough to the firebox because there's such a volatile fire going on in there. The coal bed is super hot, you're putting in splits and you're burning a tremendous amount of fuel, and it's creating a lot of direct flow coming in. So if you're able to control that, you use less firewood. It holds that heat much better. We also have a heat deflector in there that goes from the firebox into the cook chamber, and that's going to generate, again, a much more stable environment inside the cook chamber. So overall, your firebox, when it's insulated, is going to be the most efficient. It's going to be the most cost effective, and maybe not in terms of labor or what you're going to pay for it. And we only build our smoker pits with insulated fireboxes, but that's the least of the costs, right? The cost that you're going to save on is your firewood. So just to give you some real world numbers, we have a customer that had a 300 gallon smoker pit, and he bought a 1,000 gallon from us, and his 300 had no insulation in his firebox, just a straight traditional offset smoker pit. Then he got ours insulated, so he was cooking 3 times the amount of protein, saving $1,000 on firewood. That's a lot of money, man, because when you start to add that up per month, that's $12,000 in a year, okay? That's money in the bank. That's money that lets you do other things with, okay? So that's the reason why you want insulation in your firebox. That's the reason why you want to get a PRM BBQ Co smoker, because we load that thing to the hilt and we don't skimp out at all on that. Guys, if you're looking for a smoker pit, let us know. We can help you out.